If you're like me, you have at times taken electricity for granted. After all, we wake up with it, make breakfast with it. Without electricity, that alarm clock, coffee maker, and toaster wouldn't work. I'd probably be late for work and lose my job. And believe me, I can't afford to lose my job. Enough electricity to power a whole city. Ever wonder where it all comes from? Suppose you're riding down the road and your 12-year-old son asks, "Dad, where does electricity come from?" Would you be able to explain it to him? Don't you want him to think that you are the smartest guy in the world and you know things most people don't? Stay with me a few minutes and I'm going to explain how electricity is generated and how it gets to your house. But first, I'm going to dispel a myth or two. The first one is electricity comes from the power plant and not the electricity fairy. That girl's pretty. Oh, excuse me. Inside of power plants, there are mechanical devices called generators. The generators produce electricity when rotated. There are several ways to turn a generator. An internal combustion engine can do the job quite well. They can be run off diesel, gasoline, or natural gas. Water wheels and windmills were early versions of turbines or turbines. Today we use more modern versions, but they still use water, steam, and wind. Let's look at a coal plant, for example. Coal is pulverized into a powder, then sent to a boiler that heats water into steam. The pressure of the steam turns the vanes of the turbine, which then rotates the generator. This is Hoover Dam. It is an example of a hydroelectric plant. These are the turbines inside of Hoover Dam. A hydroelectric plant uses fast-flowing water to spin the turbines. This is a nuclear power plant. It uses the heat from a nuclear reactor to produce steam. Okay, guess what happens? This is a quiz. You have 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes, the steam turns a turbine, and the turbine turns a generator that produces electricity. You got the correct answer. There are other plants as well. There are geothermal plants that use hot water from the earth, plants that burn natural gas, biomass plants that burn wood chips, grasses, even manure. There are also wind turbines and solar panels that convert wind energy and the sun's energy into electricity. So now we have an idea how the utility company makes electricity. But it still is a long way from your house, and it has to get to your neighborhood and inside your home. The power plants produce 3 phases of electrical current. The electricity has to travel many miles through wires to get to you. In order to get the electricity to travel that far, it has to be sent out at very high voltages. This is accomplished at the transmission substation outside the power plant. The electricity from the generators goes into transformers at the substation that step up the voltages to 100,000 volts or even more. The electricity leaves the power plant on high voltage transmission lines. There are 4 lines leaving the substation, 3 phases, and a ground. These transmission lines can carry power up to 300 miles. As the electricity gets closer to the customer, the utility company uses a substation with transformers to lower the voltage. The voltage is reduced to 7,500 to 25,000 volts. This is known as line voltage. The power then travels underground or on the utility poles we see alongside the road. The electricity has traveled a long way, but it has finally reached your neighborhood. But 7,200 volts is way too dangerous to use in your house. Ah! That's scary. The electrical voltage must be stepped down one more time. This is done by a service or distribution transformer. This can be a pole-mounted transformer for overhead lines or a ground pad-mounted transformer for underground lines. Notice the 3 wires coming off of this pole transformer. These consist of 2 120-volt legs of electrical power. The third wire is a neutral wire which also connects to the ground. The electricity is finally in a form you can use in your house. But the electric company doesn't give that stuff away, at least not in my hometown. That's why they put a meter on the side of your house to measure the amount of electricity going in, so they can charge you for it. The next stop along the line is your electric panel. Inside your electric panel are safety devices called circuit breakers. These circuit breakers prevent overloads that could burn your house down. Leaving your electric panel are 120 volt circuits and 220 volt circuits. Your range, hot water heater, dryer, central air if you have it, or electric baseboard heat would typically be 220 volt circuits. Everything else would be 120 volts. I could go into a lot more detail, but hey, you're busy. I understand. You know, I hope this video slightly informed you about one of the things that's around us every day but we don't think about. So, I hope we're smarter than we were before, and in the future I hope to make more videos of this type. Thank you for joining Don't Be Dumb Productions, and hope you use your electricity safely and happily.